Morning, everybody. Today is Friday, January 13th. And we have with us Rob Berry, who is going to talk to us again, but this time on PayPal. So I'm going back to bed. You go for it. Hey, thanks, Rob, for doing this.
No problem. Okay, everyone. I know there's quite a bit of interest in integrating PayPal into your WebDev site. I thought it was going to be a tough process, and some of you know I was looking at somebody who produced some kind of script or whatever to do it, but in the long run, I found that PCSoft actually has a component that you can install that pretty much does it all for you. And we're going to go through the steps on using that component.
First thing, sounds better. That sounds better.
Yes. It wasn't as hard. I thought it was going to be a little bit of a rough process, but it turned out not being so. First thing, you can't, though, really use your main PayPal account to test, because otherwise you'll be racking up all kinds of charges and fees and stuff. So PayPal has a sandbox that you can do all your testing with, and it has quite a few cool tools. So you just go to developer.paypal.com, and it gets you onto this page right here. You then, what I did was I created a new email address called PayPal Sandbox at my website. An email account, you can do whatever, but because I have access to our email server, I just created a new account and created that as my test account for anything I do with PayPal. Once you log in, you have a few things you need to do. First thing you have to do is create test accounts. The two test accounts that you create are your person, your buyer, whatever, personal, just like you would normally if you were buying things through PayPal. But then you also have to create a business account, which acts as your merchant account that everything goes through. You create the account with your own domain or whatever, and when I set it up as PayPal at veryspecialcreations.com. It added these numbers and the underscore PER and these numbers and the underscore BIZ. That's what you need to use to be able to access the sandbox in your app, and I'll show you that in a minute. The other cool thing, after you set these up, this test email and API credit card, I haven't really played with all that much. The test tools, the one test tool we will be playing with is the IPN. Just go to a quick, let's check out here. Okay. And this gives you a lot of things that you do with APN, which I'll show you in a minute. IPN, I mean. Now let's go to, once you set this all up, you can start working in your WebDev.
Oh, they got an instant notification simulator, huh?
Yes.
Cool.
It does not look like, if you test your app and if you accept IPN stuff, it does not appear the test actually gives you an IPN response. At least that's not what I've been able to find. So I use the IPN simulator to test that side of my app. And once that's done, I'm like, okay, it all works. It's just, I guess I don't know why. Maybe I did something wrong, but through the simulator and stuff, everything is working. There is a little bit of a quirk with this. You kind of have to publish this to your last server in order to really test it. I'll show you. But first thing you have to do is on your external components, you right click, you import, you go to your WebDev directory, just go to where I got it in the first place. WINDEV 17 components, sample components, component PayPal. Wait, I think it was under, yeah, under examples. This PayPal WDI is all you need to import to use PayPal into your app. Once you've done that, it creates these, well, let's call them objects. Go description, and it shows you all the procedures. And it tells you what currency, you can set all this stuff. These are the images that it looks like. You'll see the images I use. Get and return posts. I don't really use those, or at least they may use it. I don't directly access that. But this gives you a lot of information here, as you can see. So if you need to know something real quick, you can just go to the description of this, and it will pretty much should answer most of your questions. Now, in order to do this, what I did was I have a template, page template. And if I go to the code for that template, well, actually, first thing I did in my code was here. I created an account for my PayPal email, a global address so I can get to it from anywhere. And so I know. This is what I will change when I'm ready to my actual merchant account. So that way I can take true real money, not the testing. In your template, in the global, you have to tell it that you want to enable test mode, and you make that true. And this is where you say which user account to use. You could create two accounts, one test, one real, and then just change that variable. But in reality, once you test this and you got it working, the chances are that you're going to want to bounce back and forth between those two. It's not really worth it. Then, down here, I do all my other stuff. Is the PayPal.
Is this the products for the different buttons, or?
Yep, this is all your objects or whatever. I'll go through them in a second. What I've done, I think it's pretty good. This app has a test mode, a test period of 2 months, and then once the test period's up, it's time to pay for it. In my template, you'll see I have here your trial expires and a date. And then there is a cell that's right here called IP PayPal Custom. Okay, you place that cell there, you name it whatever, but that works. You know, that's an easy way to remember. Now down here, I check to see if the free period is over, and if the free period's over, they've paid for it, the year is up for their subscription, it changes that your free trial is up to your subscription expires. So that way they know when it expires. And this is some other logic. Once it's done, this is why I think you have to test in a true deployment in a WAS server, because you're setting up a server string that you send to PayPal to know where to respond back. And in your test environment, it's localhost, so it doesn't know where, and you get an error saying you must log into the sandbox account to use this. So you just need to deploy. It's a little bit of an extra step, but if you follow the steps that I have here, you shouldn't really have many problems. So you've got this object that they created with the component called IP PayPal Custom. You can set the item, the object name, the dollar amount. Mine's a fixed dollar amount, so I don't need to have like a shopping cart type access to this, or where it's coming up with a total. I could have a delivery address, but because mine's an electronic subscription, I don't have a delivery address that's needed. I can set the currency to whatever, so anyone in Europe can change it to euros or whatever. You can put up administration costs. I don't exactly know what that is, unless they just want for detail. Like if it's a sign-up fee of $25, you can put that in there, and that way it breaks it down. Same thing with shipping costs. That would make sense if you had a shopping cart and you needed to do that. In my case, I don't. Quantity is always one. You just have one order, but one subscription. But that's that. Now this is a really cool feature. I'm using it very simply, but I'm sure you can even go into more detail with this. You can set up a custom value. And in my case, I want to know what's the school ID number. So what is the school that's paying for their subscription? So when PayPal's IPN responds back to you with the payment has been processed, it will also send back this custom value. And that way you know what school it is. Now back up here where the set object, where it says iSchool paper yearly subscription, that's the description of it, but then you can give it an item number. So mine's IBS01. Now I have another site that I'm almost finished with. It's also a PayPal thing that's similar to this, but it's different. It's for lacrosse statistics. That'll have its own item number. So in my PayPal account, when I log in, I can split out and see, okay, who bought the iSchool book, who bought the lacrosse, and I can see which dollars are from which. Oops, hold on, jumping around. There's also comments that you can add. So in reality, that could be a little more information that you want to put in, so you know tracking numbers or whatever. And set logo, set image, I haven't really played with, but it's just something else that I guess maybe it sends that to iPal so it shows your logo on their site. I'll be playing with that, and as soon as I know more about that, I can let everybody know. And then, I had a bunch of stuff here. Clean this up a little bit. So here, the iPayPal custom, that's the cell that I created. I'm putting in the set payment button. This is one of the images that I'm using, the click buy that you saw in the components. And then I make it visible. Now, give this a quick run. We won't be able to post a payment because we'll get I can show you the error that we're going to get. But I have a site up on I have a version up on the site that I can show the final bit on posting a payment, and then we'll get to the IPN. Okay. This is actually for an iPhone app. This is the back end, which I seem to be doing a lot of. Here's that cell. Now, because the subscription has expired, the PayPal button is enabled. If we click it, this is the error you get, saying that you have to use the sandbox. But if you go to the actual site, which I haven't published that version yet, so it looks a little different. I push the PayPal. Oh, it's making a liar out of me now. Hold on. I did this just before we started this. There we go. Okay. So here we're in the test store. And it shows that description I put in, the iSchool paper yearly subscription, the dollar amount, the item number, quantity, all that stuff that I wanted. It doesn't show your optional stuff. It doesn't show what's going to be IPN'd back to you. And I guess up here somewhere is where that icon will be in the logo if you put that in here. Like I said, I haven't played with that just yet. And then that test account, that personal account, you can log in and I'm not sure what the...
So it only shows the PayPal account there. It doesn't show the Rob. It doesn't show the credit card option, right?
Well, that's over here. That I can't remember the password. Because I wasn't getting IPNs and I did this once. I'm not sure what the password is at the moment for the personal account. I had a couple little problems with my Sandbox account. I actually had to delete and recreate them a couple times in order for them to actually take, because I kept doing it and it would not allow me to log in. So that might be a little quirk. If you find that you're doing it and then it's not accessing and it's giving you errors, you may have to delete it and recreate it. It was weird. It showed you everything, and it showed you the, it showed you all the test accounts. But at no point did they show the...
They showed e-checks too, right? I just saw that.
Yeah. There's a lot of things you can simulate here. So now, once you do your payment and you want to test your IPN, what I've done is I created a web service for the IPN. Oops, let me make the screen a little bigger. Now, I created all these items for what you normally have to do. Now, the really cool thing about if nobody's done web services in WebDev, you're going to find this so easy it's ridiculous. This page parameter feature is how you pass parameters, obviously, to the page. So if we go back to the IPN real quick, let's just go for an express checkout. You see all these: payment type, payment date. Okay, all those are these: item name, item number. So you create these parameters and you create the ones you need. Like I'm not doing a shipping address, so I don't even pass that parameter to the system because I don't need it. I thought about just taking everything and then deciding not to, but I thought, just more work not taking it and then taking it. So I just leave it out. And I'm sure there's going to be a couple things I need, but here's that custom that I have that I pass the school ID number in and stuff. And there's the currency and tax ID or transaction ID. That's important. You always want that, because if there's ever a question on a payment, that transaction ID number is what's going to help you know that, how to track who was what. If any questions come up about, yeah, I did pay, and for some reason on your custom ID or school ID didn't come through, you can look at your transaction ID. So, what I've learned, thanks to Pete, is really cool. The one hard thing to do is when you publish to the server, you can't do traces because there's no window for it to show up on. So Pete told me that you create this start trace line here, then any traces between the start trace and down here where the end trace is will save in a text file on your server. And you set it at a certain directory. As you'll see here, I have a trace directory. Fantastic tool. So you'll see, that's why I have all these traces, because I wanted to make sure I was receiving all the information. So what I've done here is, if payment is completed, which you'll get different status results. Obviously I wanted to see it, I put in the file. I set the date, and then I set the date a year from now. And then I set the new expiration date in the table to that date. And then I do the normal database updates and everything like that to save that value. There's my end traces. I had two separate traces going, I think. So, let's see.
So Chris was asking, does PayPal pass this, I don't know what this is, as the URL or as XML? I don't know if he's talking about the IPN notification or what. I'm
going to sound stupid here. It's passed as parameters to the web service. That's what's so nice. You don't have to parse any XML or JSON or SOAP or anything. Then those values, when I did this here, let me go back. These page parameters. So it's a string. Did I copy the string up here? Is this what it is? Yeah. You see the comment right above this area here where I spelled paper wrong? This is what gets passed from the IPN. Can everybody see that all right? Because I commented out, I can get rid of the comments for right now. This line right here is an exact copy of the data coming from the IPN.
So that's not a HTTPS, that's just a regular HTTP, huh?
Yeah, that's just the website that I have forwarded in my system. I call it XML, but that's just an IP. That's going to change. But it comes to my PayPal IPN AWP web service, and this is all the information it sends back, which is fantastic because all you need is your page parameters and you're done. You don't have to do any XML parsing. All you need to do is those values.
Very nice.
And then, once you send the IPN to the test tool, these are my traces that come back. That start trace, end trace, this is the information that comes back. Well, some of it's the information, some of it's my stuff that I like, the dates and stuff is what I'm processing. Yeah, but that's where the trace stuff is handy. Doesn't really have much of what they send. It's more or less me processing, making sure I was receiving the data right. But if we go back to the IPN, you can see, I mean, like I said, I'm doing very simple stuff, but there's a lot of information that gets sent back to you. whether the address is confirmed or not, verified or not. There's a lot of info that they send back with the taxes. I should probably do something with that. Like I said, once I got the core stuff working, then I'm going to decide, all right, I think I need more information here. I need to, like, the tax thing and stuff. I have to set up my account, my true account, and I'll see what that has. And if that starts breaking down taxes and stuff, then maybe I'll do that so I can have a little accounting system on my website to get a better idea of what the monies are. Yeah, you can do an invoice as well as a custom. So if you were generating your own invoices for each transaction, so you can not only, like in my case, in reality, if I was creating invoices, I wouldn't have to do a school ID number transfer back because I could just reference the invoice. But like I said, I'm just learning. So I'm sure once I really sit down and look at this and ready to roll this thing out, I might change things a little bit. But right now, I think I'm good with just the ID number because I don't know how big this is going to get. But to put an invoice system in is it's not really an invoice, so I don't see how that would work for me because I'm only if they decide they just don't want to subscribe again, I'll just disable the account and be done with it. So it's not something that I'm invoicing out. It's more or less a prompting to them by that icon only showing up when they've expired, or I might even set it to go, instead of 12 months, and a full year, maybe I'll go 10 months, and that way they've got a month or two to be alerted that, hey, your subscription is going to end. But for now, I'm just leaving it as that because I don't have any real mechanism to totally disable. The disable is going to happen from me manually going into the system and say, all right, disable this account. So I'll probably just pull reports every once in a while and see. Because with schools and stuff, they've got to process, they got to get approvals and stuff, so you got to give them a little bit of leeway. But any questions? I was rattling a lot of info out. So I see on the chat here, what's this? Okay, yeah, Pete, yeah, that's true. That could act as a invoice or voucher number, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, Chris, it would be. We use Peachtree. We use Peachtree Quantum here, but I mean, I don't use that. They see this side is a different business. This is my own family business, personal. Besides the one that I got a couple businesses. So this is separate. So we don't really have an accounting system as of yet because our apps aren't really out there. But very soon we'll probably do something like QuickBooks because it's going to be the most inexpensive way to do some kind of accounting.
Well, with the QuickBooks Pro, I just import. I go to the account, I import the stuff every month or so.
Yeah. I'm just reading what some of the. What was Andy said he has that in his error class?
Yeah, when you were talking about your tracing, I think.
Oh, okay. Carl's was asking if the sound was working. I think that was fixed.
No, yeah, it's on his side.
Yeah. Yes. Greetings, Olaf. This works for anywhere because PayPal's all over the world.
Yeah, they do have countries that they be careful about, right?
Yeah. First, it is easy. It was a lot easier as a bunch of us were looking at this woman who had these classes to do PayPal real easy. I'm glad I didn't waste my $25 because when I really dove into it and looked at this, as you can see, it is so easy to put PayPal on a website. It's ridiculous.
PayPal is so standard, and I imagine that she probably had her product before maybe PC Soft had it or something,
I think you're right.
And so probably that's why she doesn't really do much with it, because who knows? I mean, PC Soft usually jumps on stuff like this, and PayPal is such a. I mean, if you go to WordPress and all this other stuff, everybody and their mother, even Dreamweaver website templates, they all PayPal, enabled.
I mean, if you look at the IPN, if you do checks, there's the IPN for check pending. I don't do e-checks, so I'm not too familiar with that whole thing. You got to
I wonder if they charge a fee for e-checks. They must, huh?
They probably do, and I probably should look into it, because if some school won't pay by credit card, they want to pay by check, I need to be able to know how that's done. I'll wait until that's an issue.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to look into it today too.
It's not much different. Yeah, there's a little difference in there. That's the cart. Missing something in here. Yeah, this whatever, but refunds. You can sell reversals. So it's their little sandbox gives you a lot of nice little test tools to. Trying to remember if I had to do something here. I think they did this for me.
Pete was saying the way checks work is you see two separate transactions. Once the check clears, you get a second IPN transaction telling you it was good.
So you get one transaction. I see. Okay.
And what the first one shows as pending.
All right. That's not bad then. So you just have to process one that says pending, and all right. So right until it clears, you just okay. So that doesn't sound like that's going to be too hard to manage.
Because I don't think checks are as automatic as like credit cards, where almost instant. Yeah, charge them.
I mean, I think in a lot of cases, because of what I'm doing and how I'm doing it, that I'm sure somebody is going to just pay by credit card and be done with it, and then they'll deal with it on their end as an expense.
So did you have to be Premier or business, or could you do this with a personal account too?
No, you have to be a business account, because there's, in my case, each one of mine is, right now it's probably going to be like, I'm going to do an introductory with this of $250 a year, but it could be $350, but there's a maximum of like $500 that you can, $500 per whatever. It's weird. I didn't look into the full details, but there's a limit to how much you can charge, or each transaction, or a daily, So I just did business because it is a business, and I have a tax ID number, and I want to be as legit and as clean as possible. When it comes to taxes and businesses, it's, I don't want anything going into my personal account, because if, God forbid, somebody's phone does something wacky because of my app or whatever, they come back and try to sue me. It's an LLC. There's no reason to, but you know how the world is. So I want all the money to go into my business. I don't want it to go into my personal account, and that way it's isolated and insulated a little. The two apps that I have, I've talked to a number of people, and a lot of them are saying, wow, what a fantastic idea. This is going to be big. So obviously everybody says that when you have something new that they've never heard of. They're like, oh, wow, until it actually happens, who knows? But
then you Google and there's 5 other people doing it. No, I'm like,
well, the strange thing I've gone on the App Store, and I haven't found anybody doing really either of my two apps.
Yeah, so don't say anything. No.
The one app is already up there. The newspaper one's already on the store. And I've already gotten somewhere in the area of 20 downloads without even advertising the thing. Cool. That's probably going to go live Monday. I think I'll be done with all my tests by Monday. So, quite a few people here. Anybody else?
Yeah. Pete says, you can do the checks, but he says he finds that most people don't do checks via PayPal. They just send a check, and that's what I expect too.
Oh yeah, if they send a check, that's fine. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd rather them do that anyway. But
I mean, if because of the school they need an invoice, that's why I figured I'd get something like QuickBooks where I can generate a quick invoice to send out if I need to. So. I mean,
well, in PayPal though, you can do invoicing. You can actually create an invoice in PayPal and send it to them. And
oh,
then
really? I've never really played with it. That's the thing I
Yeah,
have to do this weekend is set up my True account. I have one registered. I just have to go in there, log in, and actually set up my bank account information and then learn it.
Yeah, check it out because that's how you can ask for payments. You can do an invoice and then they pay off that invoice. And it actually, as you press the invoice is like in an email, and you click the button in and you pay off of that.
Now, what would be cool is if this thing would generate the invoices. You can set up. Let me just see here.
Too bad Pete is at work without a headset because he's saying, "Correct, Arnold. We do that for 2 or 3 churches and school type customers each year."
I want to see if their component will generate. Allows you to, let's see, buy now button.
Or thinking about the invoice, you mean?
Yeah, I'm wondering if there's a.
I think that's a separate thing. If you go to the PayPal, your account.
No, but I'm just, if you do PayPal, like this has the instant, like you can post a payment through WebDev. And you
I see.
could generate an invoice.
Oh.
So invoice number.
Oh, it said invoice number. Oh, that's
your internal invoice number that you create. No, I don't see anything here about creating an invoice with this. Oh.
Hey, did you do a search on request or something? Because sometimes you request money.
Well, that was the whole description of this.
Includes buttons. Or you want to PayPal? Okay.
Yeah, you see when I had that button. See the button image? I think I use this one. Payments, PayPal, 70 by 31. These are what you classify in over here.
Yeah, it doesn't look like from the set of procedures you got there, so. Maybe you just have to generate it manually.
Button image, click buy, 160.52. Button image, click buy, 160.52. So that's where you get that information from right there. So
like Chris says, easy peasy.
Yep.
But that's after you showed it to us, right? Because if somebody showed it to you, you would have said that too.
Yeah.
But
well, that's the whole purpose of these webinars. These whole webinars are for that, for everybody else to save time by somebody else's work.
But you know what? Sometimes I find that when I go in here and I really dig into it, you find out more than you would have just dropping something in, You just have to learn it.
Yeah. Well, like I said, there's a lot of other information that you can send to PayPal.
Yeah. But I'd rather learn through you there.
Yeah. And a lot of this I got from their PayPal example, I'll be honest with you. I copied a lot of what they had and just implemented in mine. And it took me a little while, though, to dig through theirs to figure out, because when you go through it, you look at it and like, there's nothing here. And then you start to find the code snippets and realizing how they're generating their button. Because if you go to their sample, all you see is that cell, like I have here. You look and you're like, there's no PayPal button. And then you find this cell that's floating there, because it's like that before.
Oh, in their template, yeah.
Yeah,
in their component. That's a super component or super control. Is that part of it?
No, it's well, here I can show you real quick. It's just it caught me. Go to see, I might even still have it here. There we go. If you look at their page, Here it is. And if you look, there's no button there. So you're looking at this and you're thinking, where's the PayPal? It's display? What? And then if you look at the code of the page and stuff, there's, wow, you know, it took a while to realize this should say generate, because as soon as you click that, there's all your code. And what this allows you to see, which this is a great example, because if you want to see the different appearances, you can select, and we can...
So this is one of the WebDev examples?
WebDev example. So if you go appearance 1 and display, that's what it looks like.
Oh, there's a button. Yeah.
So there's a zone there that changes per...
Yeah, did you see in the code it says something about visible true?
Yep. Yeah, that's... And I, you know, I'm not going to say I did anything remarkable here. I just really dove into this to realize, you know, this is pretty much set up. This is what you do to get your server info. And here's all the custom information. And I just use the ones that I want to use.
I wonder maybe if oh, by the way, I got two things, Rob. If you go to PayPal and you go to the Request tab, which is like the third tab, right. There's two buttons on the top. It says Request Money, which is the normal one. You can say to your, give me some money. But there's also a button called Create Invoice. So right. You can use that.
Yeah, I'm going to play with that, I think, tonight. Yeah. I'm going to set that up because I don't have any of my bank account information or anything in there. But I'm hoping I don't have to do that. You know, when you look at what this app does.
That's a different type of, yeah, that's a different type of, yours you want to kind of get customers that do this. Like for me, I have, you know, a standing clientele, the vertical market, you know, that it's not like everybody's flying through. It's, they want invoices.
Now, Pete, what do you use, the Premier, or do you just use the standard business?
For me, I use standard business.
I just haven't seen a reason to really go up to the Premier, you know, except the fact that it costs money.
Well, no, yeah, because unless you need it on your site, why would you do it?
Yeah,
you know,
with this being able to pass, yeah, I think that's the key thing. You process everything on your site. You never leave your site to do it.
Yeah. I don't. You know, with the PCI compliance stuff, Rob, I don't even want to deal with it.
And everybody's so used to going to the PayPal site to pay things, so it's not like it's anything weird. And I guess if I can pass, you know, unfortunately because of the test, I can't really go to the sandbox, but like those icons that it shows.
You lose control. You know, you could lose control for a little bit.
Yeah. But this right here, this image, the WebDev GIF files that you send to your logo and image, you could probably make the PayPal site look just like your site. So it doesn't really look that much different than what, like I said, I just have to play with those and see what they do. Yeah. I just, two icons.
When I used to use one shopping cart, and I had my PayPal account plus merchant account and stuff like that, I'd have, you know, both of them go through that gateway. And then that's when you sometimes need more. But yeah. But I didn't really need more, yeah. So.
I like free. Yeah. You're paying enough in the percentages.
Well, you know, think about the PCI compliance stuff. When you start doing it all on your own site, that's a headache, I can tell you. Because I was getting audited every quarter. And every month the PCI compliance-y that the bank set up for me, they would come through my site every month and check.
Yeah, I don't want that hassle. This business, the very special creations, is my iPhone apps and all that stuff, and it's just, you know, I'm hoping it's my college tuition funds, you know. I really don't want to have a huge overhead and have to worry about hassle. I got enough hassle here at this business. I just want that to just chug around and just do its thing. So
some people would say, if it's a iPhone app, don't you pay through the Apple Store? But what you're showing here is the app is free there, but if they want more in the app itself, they can pay, right?
Exactly. That's one of the little tricks. If you do iPhone apps and you have them subscribed through the app, in other words, if you have a way for them to say, yeah, I want this data on my system, and they pay through the app, you have to pay Apple 30%.
But does Apple kind of get it, and then they don't?
And they pay you. Yeah, all the payments go through Apple, and then go through your iTunes Connect account. Like I have all my bank information in my iTunes account because I had the iAds for that one app that I had, the WebDev mobile app for the iAds, so I had to set up a bank account for that. And also they want that if you have any paid apps, which at the moment I don't, but the way this is all set up is this site still have it here. This site allows the schools to create their articles. Oops. What it is there's an app that you get called iSchoolPaper. iSchoolPaper. It's on the iPhone app store. In there, you can add schools. So this app can hold or access any number of schools. So let's say you're a grandparent in Texas and you've got grandchildren in California, New Jersey, and Ohio. And each one of them is on the school newspaper. But you want to be able to read the articles from each of the school's newspapers. In the app, you can register multiple schools by using their QR code. So you scan a QR code, and embedded in this code is the school name and ID number. The app then goes to my web services with the ID number and pulls all the editions. You can select which edition you want, and then you can select all the different articles in that edition. The school pays a fee to get access to this, where they can see their editions. They can see the articles in the edition. They can then, that's fixed in that other version that I haven't uploaded yet. But they can edit their the articles and stuff, and it's got security that the school supervisor of the newspaper has to approve an edition before it actually gets presented out in the server. And articles have to get approved by the editor and stuff. So there's a level of protection, so nobody can put out an article that's offensive, or does not meet the school's parameters for an article. And so this is just to allow schools to produce more school newspapers, because now with budgets being so reduced, they might only be able to produce 2 a year. Well, you got 40 students who want to be on the school paper. You only have, say, 10 slots per article per paper, 10, 15 slots per paper that you can actually put out on the publish. So 10, 15 kids are not going to have ever, they're going to be there all year and never have anything published. Well, with this, they can publish as many editions as they want, as many articles in each edition. So every single kid can have an article in every edition. And there's a sponsorship page, so they can get corporate sponsors or parent sponsors to help pay for the cost of the yearly fees. So in reality, they could get, if it's $250 a year, get 10 people to pay $25 or 10 companies to pay $25. Boom, it costs the school nothing. So that's this one. And then I have another one that's for lacrosse. I'm big in lacrosse. My son plays. It has all the lacrosse stats for the high school. And I'm almost finished with that. And it works the same basic, I use the same basic app. I just configured it for statistics for lacrosse. But it works the same concept.
So if you had to summarize if somebody was getting into PayPal with WebDev, the steps you kind of went through was go get a PayPal account, make sure it's business standard minimum, right? Right. Create your sandbox.
Yep, so you test.
so you can test. And in the sandbox, you want a personal one to buy with and a business one as a merchant account to test against, right?
Right.
And then the
You
third
may
thing
have,
is,
you may have a problem with those accounts. You may have to finally delete them and have to redo them. Like I said, I had to do that twice for one of them. So, but yes, once you set up that account, now that is where that information is what you need to put in here. Let me go back to mine because I can bounce through mine a lot easier.
but go to that, find that example app in WebDev, right, and test it through with that, right?
Yeah, you can do it this way, or you know what? Actually, I think it's in there. I put everything in mine in basically the same place that they did. I can't remember where they put the account code. That's why I like mine. Open. The two key things when you're testing is you have to set that one item to test. You have to say this enable test mode true. And you have to create, and you put those sandboxed account information, right, create like a global account, PayPal account variable, and you put it there. And that will be, this is when you're done in testing, you change that to your actual merchant account that you're using on PayPal to receive payments. And then everything will go to that account.
And then the component, the WX component, has all the fields and does the communication back and forth. It has the web service, right?
Yeah, it does everything. When you call, see, when you create the button right here, this in the cell, this set payment button.
Yeah.
All this information that was up here gets, I guess, linked into this payment button. Once that payment button is generated, as soon as the customer pushes it, it sends all that information to PayPal, then PayPal takes over. And then the only thing that you have to do is deal with the instant payment notification return. You don't have to do the instant payment notification. The problem is you really don't have much feedback telling you whether or not the payment went through. You would have to go into your account and look to see what payments were made that day, and then go into your system and enable or do whatever you have to do to your account.
So how in your program do you find out that it went through and you say, thank you for your payment?
Right here. It's, well, once it, yeah, when you set up your I don't know exactly, that's a good question, because I know when you set up a button in PayPal, you can tell it when payments received or successful, you could go to a separate page to say thank you for your payment. I don't know what it does there. But in my case, once I get the IPN information that comes back here, this is where I set, like I said, I moved the expiration date up a year. I set this system to be active, that it's an active account now. It's no longer a trial account, and that's where I update the system. So I don't have to go back into PayPal and look at who paid that day, and then go back into my system and enable them. It does it automatically. So I've automated this as best I can. I have them automated in that they can sign up for the account. I've automated the payment. Because if you go into the login, you see it says sign up. And then that goes into another page that, find it fast enough, because I know we're running a little long here. Can't remember the page now.
So it's a feedback page, or the order page, right?
Yeah. It's add school, and then what it does is ask them for the name of the school and who's the supervisor. There we go. That's why I couldn't find it. So it sets up the school name, address, phone number, who the contact is there, and then also it creates the supervisor login.
You better hide your passwords, man.
Oh, those are all fake. Those are all junk. Come on, how simple is that? But yeah, that's easy to do. Nobody knows how to do that.
Password. Up. Yeah.
And boom, it's passed. Let's hit it.
Go.
Let's do it again down here. So but I did that so that originally I was going to think, all right, they have to email me, give me their information. I set up the account. I did it. I made it all automated, so I don't have to interact.
Hey, you know when you're doing passwords, that stuff I've liked is a little checkbox on the side that says show me or don't show me the password, so I can turn it on or off.
Yeah,
you know.
I can do
So
that
when
too.
I'm doing when I do demos, then I can show it on with the stars.
But
Cool. So yeah, you did good. I mean, I know we were going to take half an hour to 45 minutes, but we got a late
well,
start. But we'll see.
everybody stayed, so nobody bailed at the last. It was getting boring.
So yeah, it's a good topic, and I appreciate you coming on. And I love when you're hunting through stuff because you say time for a webinar. It's wonderful.
Oh yeah, I had no problem doing it.
Okay. And anybody else, if they have stuff like that, like doing journeys that Rob just went through, share, because it's how you can really learn it. And if people ask you questions, you might, look into things that you might not have otherwise. So maybe we should do that scan code someday. The QR.
Well, I'd be happy to, but it's all iOS.
Yeah.
But this, real quick, is you create an image, and it generates this for you. Where is it?
Oh, you mean you put the text in there and it generates that code for you?
Yeah. Give me a moment. Hold on. This was so awesome. No, it's over here. I'm sorry, I'm in the wrong page. That's just an image. It's a copy. If you go to here we go. You create a barcode. You insert
it? Yeah.
It's if you go insert barcode control, okay?
Okay.
And then when you do that, you select what type of barcode you want.
Okay.
And there's QR, okay?
Okay. Is the initial value anything? Is it just...
No, it's just junk. It's just whatever you want. You can have it all zeros.
Okay.
And then, where did I do it? Just looking for where I set that up. Here we go. It's let me just get this so it's on the actual template. It's cleaner. All right, so I have this QR code. That is what's called on the screen. That's what that image is, which is the school ID, and then the school name. And then it will automatically create this code with that information.
So it represents a string, basically, right?
Yep. But you can set whatever information you want in the QR. Like I said, if you're interested in QR, there's websites for generating QRs, but you can do them right here. And this dynamically changes based upon the login. When the person logs in, there it is. Because what you do is you then save that image, you put it on their website, or put a big poster up or something that says, this is our QR code for this team or for this whatever, and people just have to walk up to it and scan it, and the scan happens instantly. Like, people are interested in QR code stuff, on the iPhone.
Smartphones can grab that, right? So.
Yeah. Yeah, you could probably do it Android and stuff. I'm not saying it's exclusive to iPhone. I'm just saying I do everything with iPhone, so that's easy.
Pete was saying that the prefix of all your variables are lighter. That's because that's the global. That must be the global defaults, right, to all your charters. Your charter.
I don't necessarily like it.
I think you can turn it. Yeah, but no, you can turn it off so you don't see. You can hide it. I mean, not turn it off. You can hide it. Is what I understand.
But sometimes it helps because when you see a GS, you know it's a global string. So it kind of helps having the charter. It can get annoying sometimes, but.
Yeah, some people say, oh, you can hover over and see what it is, but sometimes it's easier to scan a whole page with the thing showing.
Yeah,
so
it's all right.
All right. Okay, thank you, Rob, very much, and that's about an hour.
Yep.
So we'll call it a wrap, unless you want to say anything else.
We're good.
Okay. Thanks everybody for showing up, and thanks again, Rob.
Okay, no problem.
Have a great week.